Hmm. Thing has gone wrong. I don't know what I did, but just broke everything. Seems to be working away. Really, I mean, what did I do? Hmm. I don't know how to make this work anymore. Oh no. Hmm. Something that I fix later. That is like here. What is going on? That, I guess. Like this. Like this one bit. Hmm. What? Why? How? That's not it. Um. Oh. Internet, real quick. Looks like it. Like I do the same thing, but I can't for some reason. Why? Why can't everything be the same as it was last week? Same as it was last week. Um. Uh. Let's pop out. No. Heyo. Don't know what's happening. Okay, that's still working, but why? Why? What sense. Guess I'm offline, but I'm clearly online, at least with Twitch. Oh, for the love of fun. Well, guess we'll just do Twitch for now and see what happens. Oops. Next week, I can, or however I gotta fix this. My remote. And... Oh. Hi. Me. Curtis. And that's Milo. Hey, so, within 1 week, it's been 1 week since you logged in here, and 1 week to have a jeer, because everything has changed and now you can't log into the things you normally log into. Yeah, I don't know. Seems to have been an update. I just had to re-log into everything. So yeah, I don't think it's restreaming to YouTube and Facebook now. I'm sure I could probably fix it, but I'd have to log out. Space Goonie has subscribed. Space Goonies subscription has arrived. So anyway, Ripley, meow, 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 meow. Yeah, you never know what's going on, cause I never know what's going on. So play the intro, and we'll figure it out later on, I guess. Um. Hey! So yeah, it looks like there's been an update, and I can't refuse the update. It just updates on its own. So I'll have to find a way around that. That hopefully doesn't involve me paying money. I've already paid money. But I think I can go backwards and connect it the other way around instead of the way I've got it connected now. I don't know. It will take some trial and error, and or I'll have to do a different login that hopefully exists. But yeah, just trying to Google it, and all of the articles are old and pertain to updates that didn't happen since last week. That's the thing about streaming is if you don't do it every day, I guess you really gotta just check in every few days and make sure everything still works the way it worked 7 days ago. Not that I'm complaining; it's still a magical system, but yeah, and I can't mess around with it while I'm live, because that just doesn't offer that as an option. Um, yeah, that's just thrown me off completely. That's all I can think about now is how to fix that. Probably won't be that hard, but ugh, why? Why can I just set stuff up? Because again, this goes all the way back to my childhood, and then again in college, and then once again when I was like supervisor of a studio of animators. Like, can I just put some action figures somewhere? Can I just put this paperwork over here? Can I keep my pencils in this cup without somebody going, "Hey, I'm just gonna move all this. I'm just gonna put this over here, and I'm gonna put tape over the eyes of all of your toys." just for the sake of making you crazy. Um, future. The future. And we don't have programs anymore. You can't just be like, I have this program. This is how I have it set up. This is how I like it set up. Because, you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm going to go animate in Flash. And it's like, oh, hey, when you select stuff now, does something weird if you try to select more than one frame. Don't. Don't. That doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form. Hey, Straxo. How's it doing in Straxo's land? Straxo's here to watch me draw with my hand, I guess. But yeah, that just makes me frustrated. I know it's not as big of a deal as I think that it is. But I already just barely. I was like, I was still gonna be early. I was still gonna start the stream, or at least have it stream starting soon before 8:30, and then start at 8:30. But then yeah, it was like, hey, every single thing that you've ever logged into is not going to be logged into. But the fact that my chat window here works makes no sense to me. I'm tempted. Oh, dare I? Dare I? Let me. I mean, I can see right here that it's not. If I hit refresh, will that say that it's doing a thing? Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not going there, and I already know that. So why would I think that? But if that's not right, I go over to YouTube just for the sake of. No, I don't want to upgrade to premium. No, I don't want to look at this thing. Stop offering me things. Oh my god, please. Please. So, it's been. So I'm not live on YouTube there. If I go over to this channel. Alright, I'm not live on this one either, which still technically makes sense. But anyway. Let's draw some stuff. Let's make a smaller brush. Straxo is here with the follow-up. Straxo is gonna follow. And Milo is gonna laugh and cry. I don't even. I don't even. I already feel slightly thrown off today because it's just an incredibly cold day, and even with the space heater running over here, it's still an incredibly cold day. An old building, so the walls and windows themselves they're just cold. I'm pretty sure I could refrigerate things by placing them next to the windows. So I was mostly like, making sure I'm not gonna freeze to death today, and I had a lot of work to do, so I was pretty productive, got a lot of work done, kept working on it, almost right up until before the stream, and then figured, what's there to do? What's there to do except for put the cameras in the right places, and then sit here and click on the things. And it's just little things like that just completely knock you off your bicycle. When it's like, hey, I used to have hand grips on my bicycle, and now it's just bare metal, and it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel like my bike anymore, and I feel like I'm just gonna fall over. I feel like I'm just gonna fall over. That's the analogy you're going with. A bicycle handles that don't have the hand grips on it anymore. That's the worst. That's absolutely the worst analogy and or metaphor that anybody could ever come up with. I'm thrown off. I'm thrown off. So that's what happens when I'm thrown off. My metaphors just fall apart. They become mixed. Yeah, they're always mixed metaphors, but I feel all over the road. Mostly just knowing that it's not going to YouTube, and then there won't be a YouTube episode this week, and that just feels weird. I mean, I can still make one. I can still make one from this, so that I can take care of. It won't be live, and yeah, and yeah, and yeah. Entourage. Uh, what? Just don't. So, so that's right, Space Goonie. It doesn't actually matter. Everything will be fine. What do we have to talk about this week? I'm sure 1,000 notes that I still didn't get to from last week. I'm pretty sure I watched some movies still, but I genuinely don't remember when any of those were. Uh, but mostly, I spent the week like kind of worrying about starting online therapy. I the weirdest nervousness ever because it is just like I'm just gonna be like zooming in with some stranger that I don't know, and I made notes of basically I'm just like, all right, here's my problem. All right, here's what's wrong with me. Make sure I tell you this stuff right away before I start rambling and telling stories as if it's a live stream. And almost right off the bat, I was just like, hey, new therapy lady, somewhere in the States somewhere. In Indiana, I believe specifically. So I'm like, that's interesting. I want to ask you 1,000 questions about that. But that's not what we're here for. I'm not supposed to ask you questions. I'm supposed to just tell you things. So this is what I'm like. And, the world has been shut down for a year. So it's just been, weird and sad. And, I don't know. And the news and people in the world are, like, there's one lady at the grocery store that I run into occasionally that I'm just like, oh, it's you again. Maybe you won't randomly just say something about masks and the pandemic and how you're kind of against it, but not really, or whatever your weird stance is. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she's like, you know what I don't like about these masks? It's the children. I really don't like seeing kids wearing masks. I feel like that came out of nowhere, lady. Um, I kind of like that kids wear masks because I, for one, think that they are the most potential super spreaders because that's what children do. That's what they do when my friends who have kids send their kids off to school for the first week of school in September or what have you. Immediately after that, they're like, oh, well, now I have six flus and a cold and measles and whatever because uh, children are just jammed into one space. They all have fresh new viruses and germs that their bodies aren't ready for, or their other friends' bodies aren't ready for, or they're accustomed to, and then they pass it off to another kid, and then they bring it home, and it's just like, oh, it's already mutated in this fresh new body that's just ready to like work with new things and just figure it out and build new viruses and whatever. So yeah, that's right, Pat. They are the harbingers, and uh, and I didn't say anything. It's just like I'm not gonna fight you ever. Just like, yeah. Like I'm at a point. It's like I like wearing masks. There are days when I go for a walk and I'm on a street and suddenly there's just a lineup of cars and I'm just like, oh, it 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 tastes like muffler out here. Mask up. Hey, my mask. Plus a weird mask filter inside there definitely kind of makes it feel better. I don't feel like I'm breathing in exhaust. So that's cool. That's a good thing. Um, you're out of your mind. No, I'm not. I mean, yes, I am. So anyway, uh, try to be nice to that lady. Everybody I interact with in the world, I try always to be positive. So just nervous about meeting a new person and also knowing that I'm just like I'm not just meeting a new person. I'm also like, hey, new person, here's what I think is wrong with me, or here's what I think is right with me. Uh, Basically, I worry about things too much, and I know that I do, and I've been to therapy before. And here's the things that I used to do and I should do, but pandemic blues have got me down, and I don't feel like it anymore. I don't have the energy to do very light, easy yoga in my living room or in this room here. I would just rather curl up in a chair and wait for tomorrow and then try and do my work tomorrow and, have weird nightmares and whatnot. So, hi, nice to meet you. I do a live stream. So, about every week I do the same thing I'm doing with you, except with some of my friends that live in provinces that I can't promise to visit because, borders are shut down. I have another friend who lives literally less than an hour away. I mean, it's like 55 minutes away, but less than an hour away. And I'm messaging Tim last week at some point, who's the person who lives just an hour away, and we're coming up with like some funny ideas. And he's like, "Oh, like we should do a show." Like and it's like we haven't actually hung out in 1,000 years anyway. But I'm just like, yeah, we should. We should plan to do some sort of something like once a month. And like 20 minutes after that, I was like, oh, hey, by the way, where he is, we got too many cases again, so they're not allowed to travel, and I don't want to travel there. So there you go. There's that. Good times in the city. I live, you know, literally. There's a street, and then there's like a driveway that I can sneak through, and there's a theater. And in that theater, there's a gallery space. And 2 years ago, 2 entire years ago, I find out, hey, no, you can just sign up for the gallery space and then have yourself an art show in there. Wow, wow, it's never been that easy. Every time I've ever tried to ask, like, hey, how do I get into this gallery? Like, tell me all the galleries you've been in before. Like, oh, that old catch 22. You can't get job experience without some job experience. So tell me about your job experience. Like, no, this is my first job. Well, you can't have it without job experience. Well, can I get some here? No. Well, then how do I get some? It's not possible unless you lie. So go about your life doing some sort of fake job or faking your resume or go work somewhere for free, and then you have something on your resume to say, hey, I deserve to work here. Today I think I'm going to draw a t-shirt design instead of a comic strip because I didn't think of any ideas. I was too busy animating other things, which was taking up all my ideas. So we're going to do a little rough, even though technically I've already roughed this out on a little post-it note so I wouldn't forget this idea. But oh, I can see the post-it note. It's on my bulletin board. So that'll help slightly, but it's just a crappy stick man. So anyway, um, my gallery month, a whole month of having gallery space. What? That's like unheard of. Who gets that? Nobody. I mean, how? What? But yeah, 2 years ago, last month, I signed up and they're like, like it's a 2 year wait. Like that's fine. I'll wait 2 years. I only live a block away, so it's gonna be easy. What could possibly happen? What could possibly happen to keep me from putting stuff into the old Honda Fit and taking it a block over? Even if there's something wrong with the car, I can physically take it over by hand and it'll take a few trips. And that's fine. That's fine. Nothing could possibly happen that could keep me from setting up a bunch of artwork in a gallery space outside in the world where I would like my friends, who some of you are in the stream right now, and others that live near the people in the stream right now. Some people in other parts of this province that are like, technically you could travel around here, but the people that do the most traveling are the ones that aren't masking up, or the ones that are coming from a place that's high in numbers and then not disclosing things and then just, making things worse. So I personally, mentally, physically couldn't handle the idea of setting up a space where I'm basically saying, hey, come here and look at artwork. My plan was to be there just about every day to randomly meet people and be like, I did this. Let's talk about it. Or just to see the people seeing the stuff and seeing their reactions so I could talk about it on things like this and or with new therapy lady. But yeah, then it got to be almost February last month, and I called up and I was like, hey, is the gallery still a thing? Because I don't know what's going on in the world. And she's like, oh, yeah, at this point in time, we don't even know if we're going to be open. But as far as we know, if it's open, then yeah, you can set up. Like, cool. Um, no, I can't. I can't. Sorry, I can barely handle going to the grocery store without feeling nervous about everything in the world. So cancel it, I guess. And then she's like, well, the waiting list is going to be like another million years. What's that ding? Oh, that's Mel. gonna be late to watching the stream because she's at work. Um, so yeah, that was the whole thing. Was like, oh, that's gonna be a reason to get you guys to come up here and visit for even just the day or whatever. Um, I mean, it's a pretty long drive, but it's something. It's something. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I can't. Sorry, can't mentally deal with it. And she's like, yeah, fully understand. And then on my Instagram this week, I saw Jen Power Art, I believe is her name on Instagram. She posted like, hey, like, thanks to the Marigold Theater Art Center, whatever it's called, um, for letting me have a whole extra month. So her show was up in the month before February, and then they just changed the sign instead of the name to the February artist. It changed to they just changed January to February instead of changing the name to my name. And you're welcome. You're welcome, Jen Power. I mean, her art is amazing, like beyond amazing. It deserves several months anyway. Uh, but in my head, I'm just like so tempted to just be like, "You're welcome," but I didn't do anything other than be too afraid to have pictures up in the world, and I didn't go to your art show, and I feel bad about that as well because I don't know. I don't know. I find it hard to go places. I mean, you still got the places. I mean, yeah, you went to the well, you got to put the gas in the car. That was the thing when the car was almost out of gas. And remember when the car had to be inspected and the oil light was on, you went and did that. So that was the thing. And then of course the drugstore, going to the hospital when you're having your hypochondriatic equations. Yeah, yeah, those are the places. Those are the places in my neighborhood. In my neighborhood. Um, have a good night or a good sleep, Strexo. but uh, but yeah, it's like I don't really feel bad about the not going places. It is mostly just the hey, new therapist. Um, Before pandemic, I was like doing things. I had some friends that I would hang out and do some artwork with. I was planning on doing shows in the world, and then months and months and months passed, and now it's been officially over a year, and it's like who cares about doing anything anymore, right? Other than maybe I will. Definitely I will. It's on my to-do list that I can see from here, I think. No, it's not. But I have to add it to my to-do list that I can see from here is I'm going to set up some sort of online art show. Not that Instagram isn't already my online art show. Follow at Mr. Cartoons on Instagram to see all the things that I do and I make. Um, and yeah, so I was just like, well, I'm not signing up right now, even though, yes, another 2 to 4 years from now, theater will be available and pandemic won't be happening anymore. But yeah, I don't know. There are some other options. I'll do something else in the world eventually when stuff is cool again. And again, also at least again explaining to the therapy lady like I'm you're going for walks. I'm still doing like the slightest bit of yoga, but not enough that to really matter. And I want to get back up to doing what I was doing before everything's just started being ridiculous. And and yeah, after a bit, it's just like I've just been talking and she hasn't stopped me yet. I'm pretty sure this is only supposed to be a half hour, and I definitely can't. I can't have any sort of conversation or say anything in less than an hour, if not an hour and a half. And then once it got to be about an hour, she was like, "Oh, like by the way, I don't really believe in this half-hour nonsense. An hour, it definitely need at least 45 minutes." I'm like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "You don't even know how happy I am to hear that." So it's like, ching, another little win for me. That I can Skype with some strange person who already feels fairly comfortable and nice, and and that was fun. I mean, it wasn't fun, uh, but it was positive and good. So she gave me some homework, which was very simple because it was just go for a walk before the next session. Like, I'm already going to go for a walk right after this session because it seems to be a nice day out. And so that's easy. And then she sent some worksheets to go through and just apply certain things, which are basically the things that I haven't been doing that I did learn from my last therapy session years and years ago. That I told her about, like, all right, I saw this guy, he said this, I saw this lady, she said that thing, and at the end of it, it's just like, yep, what do you want to do that makes you happy? Like, have some kind of weird little show, I guess. Is that possible? Yes, it is. I do a bunch of weird little shows all the time. And this is several years later, and this is the latest incarnation of my weird little show where I still get to talk to imaginary things without having to go in and animate them after the fact. They're just there. They're happening. You know. Point the pen the right way. Can't. Edward is over there, and I mean he's a real painting on the wall. But yet, with the press of one button, I can be like, "Hey Ted, how's it going today?" "Oh hey brah, everything's going super cool and bodacious. Bodacious is a word that I should be using a lot more. But have you taken the time to watch the Bill and Ted movies? Old, new, or in between within the last week like you said you were going to?" No. No, Ted, sorry. I still haven't, but one of the movies I keep intending on watching just so you can have a better voice or at least better references than Surf Wax. "That's all right, guy. Everything's cool. You can always just talk about. I don't mind surf wax. I do enjoy good surfing. Also, playing guitars and going and talking about stallions that are possibly wild. You know, things like that. But I also don't have to be that guy because I'm just a cat with that name." It's true. It's true. It's Avocado Shakes' cat, who you can follow along with his pal Bill, and they are Bill and Ted Buttcats, spelled that way, Bill and Ted Buttcats on Instagram, and they're always fun. Um, and speaking of Netflix, let's talk about Netflix for 5 seconds. I had a pretty good rough time trying to get Netflix to work, so I gave up on it and just signed up for Amazon and watched The Boys, and it was amazing. And now I'm just like, I mostly just watch YouTube and other channels that I have on my Roku that are free. And when I go to Amazon, most of the stuff that's on Amazon is on all of these other free channels. So other than waiting for and wanting to watch Invincible, the animated series, because I loved that comic series, it was amazing, and the animated version looks like it keeps in time with that, so that should be pretty fun. Um, but yeah, all the ads that I still see for Netflix make me think everything that I want to watch is still on Netflix. So I'm maybe going to be tempted to give it another try and see if I don't know, maybe I can do an update to something, but I don't know. It wasn't loading up on my computer. It wasn't loading up on the Roku, and it wasn't loading up on just the straight up TV. So I don't know. So I don't know. So must have mentioned 1,000 times to the therapy lady. Like, I have a live stream. I have a live stream. I have a YouTube. I make things. And what I really wanted to say was, um, can you just go watch my live stream? I mean, just go to my YouTube and watch a few episodes or one episode, and I think you'll get all the information you need. But at the same time, I'm already giving you all of the information you need to figure out what my deal is. And even better, I'm just like, I make stuff. I used to do TV. I animate for streamers through Streamlabs, and right now I'm in the process of working on a short film for somebody. And she's like, "Oh, cool, yeah." She's like, "No, I love creative stuff. I need creative people in my life." and this should be interesting for me as well, because before I did therapy, I used to be in advertising. I don't know if the confidentiality is supposed to go both ways, and I'm not supposed to tell her secrets, as I assume she's not telling mine. But yeah, I'm just like, oh, that's great. So when I do talk about stuff like clienty type things that might be upsetting me or worrying me or making me nervous, that my usual thing is just like, oh, I'm like, can I not do this? Have I forgotten how to do anything? Maybe I don't know how to do this anymore. I should maybe just stop animating for other people. What am I doing? And then it's just like, check the worksheet. Like, is that ever an issue? No. No, I usually feel this for like 10, 15 minutes, and then the idea comes to me because I have a problem with thinking of ideas. Feels like I'm wasting time, as if like, no, you should just keep working. It's just like, well, I can't if I don't have an idea yet. It's okay to sit and think about the idea and then do the idea rather than just immediately doing the idea. Um, So I always try to remind myself of that, and then this worksheet reminded me, like, oh yeah, that's a thing I keep forgetting to do as well. Thanks. Thanks for being a friend. Beyond that, mostly I'm just like, yep, I always have lots of stories, because for some reason, people in the world will just approach me and just tell me their deep, dark secrets, and I don't even know why. Sometimes it's not even a hey, nice to meet you person I've never met before. Do. Let me segue into this. It's literally, hey, let me tell you about the people that I've threatened this week. And that was, 2 weeks ago now. I think we talked about that. Um, but I also have a need to help people and be helpful. So many times it's my own stupid fault that I interact with people and their weirdnesses. Um, Thought I had one of those in my head, and I do not. But I did hear this guy talking, and he was an older guy. He wasn't talking to me, but he was just adjacent enough that I'm just like, I can hear all of this, and I know that he wants to talk to some people. Um, and this guy was talking about how I don't know, he was upset or whatever, and that his wife like basically just left him. But before he got to the part where, or at least where I came into hearing this, it was blah 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 blah. It's like, oh, like good for you, person he's talking to. Like, yeah, don't get married young. Like it's not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. I wish that I had waited. I got married very young, and it was just a terrible mistake. Terrible mistake. Like I tell my son all the time. Like, I wish I hadn't gotten married so early, and I could have lived my life a little more before blah 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 blah, this and that, and then eventually saying that his issue is, oh, by the way, like my wife said she's going to leave me, and then she just up and left me after 20 some years, and just like, yeah, yeah, I know why. I know why. It's because you think you got married too young, and I'm gonna guess she can probably read that on your face and or how you act around her all the time, because you clearly don't want to be married. So eventually, if you're a person who doesn't, people either catch on or they get sick of you and murder you and throw you into some sort of ravine. Those are the options. Um, but yeah, I'm just like, uh, why am I hearing this? Um, and then I want to say somebody else came into his purview, and he basically told them the same thing. Like, it's just been this many years. Like, my wife just left me. She just left me. Like, Mm-hmm. I want to leave you. Oh, also the first person that he was talking to, fully and audibly and within close proximity, did a like, oh God, oh. It was just like, oh, see this guy already wants to dump you from this conversation. So imagine those 5 minutes stretched over 20 some years, guy. And I know that you don't have the ability to do that, and that's why you think it's ridiculous for this person to be like, just be out of nowhere. She just up and leaves. Like, yeah, nothing is ever out of nowhere. Everything is always a build up. Um, so other than that was kind of interesting. Uh, Along with, oh God, please don't me, please don't me be next. Please don't have me be the next person to hear your story. Like, how do I not be adjacent to this anymore? And then I was far enough away that it's like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, and everything's fine. I did actually go. Speaking of not going places, I did go to the comic book slash video game store slash collectible store. There's a bunch of stuff in there. There's just the nerd store here, um, and it's always a nice place. Everybody there is always super nice. If anything, it was just like I only want to be in here for 2 seconds. Just wanted to check the shelves for some video games and then be on my way. And dude was like, "Hey, can I help you?" I think I was looking at the toys first, like, "Need any help?" I'm like, "Nope, just looking around." I had like my winter hat on, sunglasses on, mask on, winter coat, probably my hood up. Just like I'm bundled in. I don't think I seem super approachable at this point, and he was just like, yeah, just looking around. He's like, oh, it's cool. I was like, I'm just trying to be busy. I don't really have a whole lot left to do. Like, well, the store is closing in a minute anyway, so I was just out for a walk, and I thought I'm just gonna take a little zip around and get out of here because I don't feel good about being places. And somehow that transitioned into, hey, computer stuff and um whatever, PlayStation Power versus Nintendo Wii Power versus PC Power versus Max. And this guy definitely knew everything about computing power and cooling and overclocking and just all the things, which was interesting. But for the most part, I'm like, I don't understand a lot of what he's saying. And at a certain point, I was like, well, like I should probably go because the store is like closing now. The store is like closing. He's like, oh, don't worry, like they're not gonna lock you in. Like, yeah, I know, but I don't like being that guy who is in the store after it closes when some people really do want to get home. But still, I jumped in. I told him what I do, and he was just like, "Oh, that's cool." So this and this and that. Like, yeah. So I do a live stream where I talk to things, and I make artwork for streamers. Here are some of the stories of some of the famous people I've done stuff for. So that's pretty great. Um, and yeah, exactly. Just thinking about people like Space Goonie and everybody who is just like, um, I've definitely been at the studio too late when I worked there. When I should have just left or kept people there. I'm just like, just stop me from talking. Like you can just go. It's fine. I realize that I talk too much. If you really need to hear more, there'll be some sort of YouTube show or podcast or recording of a live stream that you can jump into and hear more later on. But for the most part, most people aren't. Um, my day was fully ruined because you wouldn't stop talking. They're just like, oh, cool. No, I'll come back tomorrow for more talking. Like, okay, that's that doesn't make me feel bad. And there's definitely been a few people that are like, all right, I'm gonna stop you right there because you're obviously gonna segue into 9 other stories. Like, I sure am, and no offense taken whatsoever. Please go live your life. Um, I'm sure I also have 1,000 things to do. So I don't regret it at all. I'm not just like, oh, I wish this guy would have stopped talking. It was just more or less oh wow, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like when doves talk to me or listen to me talk. The other real world thing before I slip into my notes and see what's in there because definitely been some sort of pop culture thing, I'm sure. That needs my approval or angry dissertation on why it shouldn't be approved in the world. That is what the internet's for. I mean, nobody comes to the internet to hear your local stories of things that you've witnessed or achieved. It's all about, hey, what has somebody else done on the internet or on television or in movies, and what you think about it. I mean, honestly, once again, I've spent most of the week when I have been watching internets. It has still been like Game Grumpings and I want to say it's called Toy Galaxy with Dan Larson, I think. Keep watching those. They're only like 12 minutes each, but I'm just like, I vaguely remember, I think I watched an episode of that cartoon back in 1991 or 89 or whatever. Let's see why it existed, where it went, what happened, and I'm usually amazed when it's like, oh, like this was a 63 episode run. Like what? No, 43 episodes for this season. Like that's crazy. I thought you were gonna say they made like 2 episodes and then it was taken off. Um, and it usually relates to the toys that were selling the show, or the show that was selling the toys, or how both of them were synergizing and planned together. Um, and can't get enough of them. And I wish I could remember any that were specific that I did watch. But one that is kind of floating in my head, I'm assuming it was probably the last one that I watched, was a show name that I cannot remember for the life of me. But it was a show about, there was like one human and his little sister, and their dad built some robots, and these robots were like good robots, and the government guys, and he wasn't really the government, he was like the business guy, the tale as old as time. He was building like just evilish robots that he could make do whatever he wanted, and he owned the newspapers, and he owned everything, or not the newspapers, but the media, and just all the real estate. What he really wanted was to just be president of the world. So he was trying to do that, and this kid and his robot, a little clan of robots, were trying to stop it. And in my head, I'm like, I vaguely remember this because the show, the whatever the gimmick for the show was that it had some 3D segments, and I remember just like desperately wanting to see um, those 3D segments. I bet actually I know exactly how to find out what it was called. I'll just go over to my YouTube and library. I should be able to see history. Yeah, here we go. Scroll back. Jason Mantzoukas interview. Game Grumps that I've already watched. Taskmaster that I've watched before. Clip from Hypothetical. James Acaster. I wish I could see the whole episodes, but I only get the clips. Somewhere. Thing about Aquaman's worst villain. More Game Grumps. Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang Bang. Comedy Bang Bang. Paul F. Tompkins stuff. There we go. The Bots Master is what it was called. The kid was like Zach Zizix. All of the S's were replaced with Z's. His sister was like Zizzy or something. But he had like kind of 3D-ish glasses on and a helmet, and his robots were a little more human and wacky, whereas the bad robots were, standard corporate bad robots. And yeah, I remember just like really wanting to see the 3D in-ness, and I didn't have cable when I was a kid either, so I think that it must have been that I rented some VHS tapes or somebody recorded it on a VHS tape, and I believe when I did finally watch it with some 3D glasses, they were regular 3D glasses, and what you actually needed to watch it was the one dark glass and a clear glass, because it was using a weird multiplane system to give an air of depth, which I'm like, ooh, that's pretty cool. But anyway, I was amazed that just how terroristy the show sounded, and realizing a lot of shows were like that back in the day, where the bad guys were usually really just full. Oh, hit it again. Were really just like full on terrorists, but in this case, it was like technically the bad guys were the good guys. Like they were the government, they were the upright people. Everybody worked for the company that ran everything, and this kid used to work there, and he was like, I'm going to take my skills and I'm going to fight it. And his dad basically had this secret underground base, or their home, corkscrewed into the ground to be a secret underground base. And then he would go out through secret tunnels and whatnot and sabotage things, and just basically be a terrorist against the corporations, which is just amazing that you could get that on TV. And again, all of TV was just fueled by crazy old men on all kinds of drugs, just going, "This is the story I want to tell," and the only way to tell these stories is through animation. And animation is just for Saturday mornings. It's just there's no such thing as making adult cartoons, except real adult cartoons like the Cool Worlds and the heavy metal. That's one, and anime and stuff like that, where it was like that has to be like a movie, and also no one goes to see them. Like 7 people will see them, and maybe way in the future, i.e., now, there'll be cult classic hits. Now the Cool World, I tried to rewatch it not that long ago, and it's painful. It's very painful to watch. I'm just like, I don't get this. I was never a film noir type of person anyway, so all the like kind of gangstery type stuff. But it's like, yep, it's got some interesting people in it. Like the Ralph Bakshi animation is like super crazy, but for the most part, it is just like, what is this? What is this? I don't want to watch this. And they clearly weren't planning out what the animation was going to be for most of the scenes. So the cartoons are they're everywhere. They're just zipping all over the place just to make sure they stay in frame. They're climbing over things. And Brad Pitt doesn't know where any of these characters are. Um, so it's weird. It's weird. Anyway, back in the day, most of the things, as long as it didn't have nudity, you could just have weird war based, and it's just like, oh, we just can't have bullets, just have to have laser guns. And then it's fine. Then it's fine. You can shoot as many people or people like robots as you want, as long as they're robotic and you're shooting them with lasers, and it's fine. Because kids can't get their hands on lasers. But now, people are building lasers, flamethrowers. I think I want to do these characters with less detail. And I say this all the time where I'm just like, hey, I'm going to do a shirt design. And then I'm going to totally redo this later on, like I always do. But let's do a bit of cleanup to this anyway and just see. Just unlock the layer first. Go without ears. Maybe more round of a head. It's more like a bathroom sign or a warning caution sign. But I did already post this on Instagram as the rough little sketch that's up there. That's got person number 2. That's like, hey, I'm gonna go chase some waterfalls, and the other one's just going, don't, because the TLC reference, which I just found out for years and years and years. I remember my friend going, oh, I wonder what TLC stands for. In the band TLC, I'm just like, what? TLC means tender loving care. That's what it always stands for. He was like, what? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Like, really? I thought everybody knew that. Like, I don't know anything, and that's the one thing that I need. That's the one thing that I know. Because it's in all of the country songs, I guess, that my mom listens to. It's just like, I just need a little TLC. Tender love and care. Or, hey, and yeah, that's what I just heard the other day, was somebody going, oh, no, it's like their names are, I don't know their names other than the L is Lisa Left Eye. There you go, T-Boz, which was also, or no, C-Boz was my nickname for a little bit in high school and also in college, and Chili. But yeah, I did not know any of their names at all, ever. I heard of Lisa Left Eye, or at least Left Eye, whatever her first name is. Don't know if I ever correlated her to being in TLC. This is so many years later. Why am I not on the drawing screen? So many years later that I'm just like, really? Huh. If anybody had asked me 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, any amount of time between, whenever that was, 1994 and today, I still to this day would have been like, oh, what does TLC stand for? Like, oh, you silly idiot. It obviously means tender loving care. But you are the idiot. All of this time, you've been walking around with incorrect information. And not only that, you've got a box in your pocket that will just tell you. You could just easily have looked this up 1,000 times over. But instead, you're just like, I already know that. So I'm just going to shout it from the rooftops. Guys, if you're chasing waterfalls, and I might even be getting that band messed up with another band who sings that song, because you do that all the time as well. It means tender loving care. All right, tell the newspapers that's what it means. And people are wrong. People are wrong about things. By people, you mean you. You're trying to add yourself to the majority, so it's like, hey, we all make mistakes, but in this case, it's just you. Everybody on this stream already knew who it was, and you were the only one. Okay, all right, yes, yes. I was chasing a waterfall when I should have stuck to the rivers and the lakes that I was used to. No, I was sticking to the rivers and the lakes that I was used to, which was that definition of the TLC. Instead of chasing that waterfall being fresh, new, and correct information. But when you watch slash listen to random YouTube videos all day long, eventually someone will say, hey, here's a little factoid that you didn't know about, idiots. Now that you're sitting here watching the history of the 80s in 10-minute increments on YouTube, why not learn about your own heritage, that is, watching cartoons? Excuse me. One thing that I ended up watching, dare I check my notes? I'll lean on those later. One thing I ended up watching was I keep watching stuff about the He-Man, the Masters of the Universe re-releases of the action figures because it's like I really want one. I really want at least one or two, and ideally I always wanted a Trapjaw. Always wanted, never had Trapjaw. Always wanted Trapjaw, and now even more so because it's like he's got a bit of head articulation. You can move those arms around. There's a little claw that works, and even the robot arm moves around at joints. And he has the trapping jaw. So I'm just like, oh, he's just begging to be a character here that I can talk to. And from that, leading me over to like, oh, well, the series 3, I think it is Scareglow, who I've never heard of. I don't remember, but he's basically a glow-in-the-dark skeleton with a purple cape or something. Trapjaw, Orko, and somebody else. Don't remember who the somebody else was. Unimportant. Unless it was Manny Faces, in which case, ooh, Manny Faces is good. So there was four releases. And I already went to the store once, like a few months ago, and I was like, hey, everything's a little bit okay. Why not go to the mall or go to the Walmart? Like, I will. Oh yeah, there's He-Man figures out, and I believe they're like only at Walmart. So there's probably a big wall of them, and I go there, and there's only a few racks where they were hanging, and the only thing left was a Battle Cat, which when it was the only option, I'm still just like kind of tempted to pick up a Battle Cat. If he had had more articulation, I definitely would have got him. There's a Super 7, I believe it's called, Super 7 version, which is another toy company where I'm like, oh, that's probably crazy expensive. But he's got fully like articulated ankles. I think maybe his jaw might move, and I'm just like, that would be awesome, but I'm not spending all the money on that. But looks great. So I didn't get any He-Mans that day. There's like the wrestler versions, and there were some re-releases of GI Joes. I never really had GI Joes when I was a kid, so I didn't care. And you know, I had like 2 Razzlers when I was a kid. I don't care. Still don't care about Razzlers. They did when I went back have a Macho Man where I'm like kind of tempting, but no, I've already got plenty of stuff on my shelves. If anything, I've already consolidated a lot of my toys so that I don't have 1,000 toys. But there are ones that I want just to have as characters within my own little universe that I can talk to here. And Trapjaw would be awesome, but still, I'm like, I'm okay with not getting a Trapjaw. The Orko, on the other hand, where I'm just like, skip ahead to the Orko part of the video, please. Show me how he moves and his articulations. And he's awesome. He's awesome. Like, he's awesome. Teela and Evelyn suck. They suck bad. And it seems like if you rotate the arm, when the player of the plastic connects, you just start sawing through the arm with its own arm, and it's just like, well, that's not cool. But with this one, I'm just like, okay, I don't know when was this series? Like, it must have just been released. Like, I should go to the mall or go to Walmart now. I should go now. before I even finish watching this video. But Orko has elbow joints, like, normal stuff, shoulder joints, wrist joints. But more importantly, his head can move around inside of his little scarf, so you could fully like make him look like he's talking. And I could also put a little bit of clay over top of his scarf to move that as well, to give that some talking action. Or some fabric and some wire. And I realized, hey, sounds like you could probably just make an Orko out of a lot of the toy parts that you already have with the recoloring and or adding some fabric. Maybe what you really need is a sewing machine. Don't get me onto it. I have too many projects. And sometimes it's just easier to get a thing. So yeah. Also on top of all of that, he comes on a base that is like this little poof of purple magic, and then a stem of, I was going to say see-through, transparent, semi-transparent. You can definitely still see it, but it are also articulated stand, so I could still like make him float around a bit, stop motion wise. So all of those things combined would be great. Ideally, I guess I should just green screen them and then float them around. But to have that 3D stop motion movement, I'm not going to do 1,000 things with them, I'm sure, but really, really want to. So I'm like, I'm going right now before they're gone, because they probably just put them on the shelves today. Probably, really. I mean, definitely. So I rush out to Walmart, go directly to the toy aisle, to where I know the He-Man stuff should be. And even though I do need to get some grocery type items, I'm still just actually technically here for this. And I look at the rack, and as I get there, I can see there is some Masters of the Universe figures. There's some came in. Who could it be now? Who could it be now? Some strangers knocking at my door. Could it be Orko? No, not no more. So I don't know how many waves have come out. I think they're on like a wave 4 or 5 is maybe coming out now. Maybe wave 6. So whatever it was like the Orko wave's been a while, because on the internet it's like pre-order, out of stock, sold out, pre-order. Like, is it new or is it not new? I don't know. There's no time. There's no time to figure it out. I've got to get to the store, because at the store they're $14. That's so reasonable. That's so Raven. Did I just switch over? That's so Raven? That's so Raven. So reasonable. So I get kind of excited that I can see from a distance all of my dreams might come true, but there looks like there's maybe only one hanging there. And there is. There's one. And it's Zodak. Now, I've got nothing against Zodak. I can't see what that says. Alaric and Daniel? Alaric and Daniel. Is a magic thing. If you were Orko, you'd go Alaric or Daniel, and Daniel it would bring. Or maybe Aller. I don't know. But thanks for following. So I really want. You're so excited. Like, why are you so excited? What, are you Jesse Spano on the Saved by the Bell? You're so excited and you just can't hide it. You're just too excited, and then you're just gonna start crying. Yeah. And once again, I'm in the aisle looking at the racks, and it's just like, at this point in my life, I don't need to get the Zodak that I wanted as a kid. I really wanted Zodak, that helmet, that weird gun that most of them had. But I'm just like, I don't remember ever seeing Zodak in an episode, but I was like, I do think Zodak looks cool. But I don't care. But I don't care enough. I'm not going to animate. If anything, the problem is the only thing that's exposed on Zodak is his mouth, and I'm trying to hide people's mouths so that I don't have to animate them, and we can get away with stop motioning things, and I can do the voice after the fact, as discussed earlier. How would that button work? Hey, nope, that's not it. Let's dance. over here. You can't even get the voice right anymore. There it is. And you promised to use me all the time. I was supposed to get my own show. And now I'm just here. Barely even, I'm not even on the table anymore. I'm in the other room. It's just, this is a travesty. The painting is still behind me. And you said this was going to be a fun time. And every time you see a new character with no face, like Jay-Z or JV over here, or myself, and now Shredder, and we're all here waiting to be animated and fun. I know. Sorry, foot soldier guy. I also lie about all the things that I plan on animating. But the Orko I really wanted to animate. So I already made the trip there. Seems foolish not to get some sort of He-Man figure. Maybe I'll just get a Zodak. Maybe I'll just get a Zodak and just stop motion him for the fun of it. But I'm like, I don't know. I just don't really care that much. But down below, right below, they had box after box after box. So many boxes of Prince Adam on the part of the battle ram, I believe it was called, that my cousin also had, and I'm just like, this is the coolest thing in the world. But the part that he is on is the Sky Sled, which also is on kind of a semi-translucent base thing that you can rotate it, in my opinion, the wrong way. It goes forward and back. I want it to rotate sideways so that you can mimic the woo I'm zipping towards, and I can modify, I can rotate it so, I can do it that way, but just the way the base is set on my shelf over there, it only leans forward and back. Regardless, spoiler alert, it's right over there. Also, if you follow the Instagram, I did animate him very poorly dancing to David Bowie's Let's Dance, which I just very quickly just rushed doing, and I'm like, that's fine. I've got other animations that I'm being paid to do that I should be doing. So I did get that because it was still in the realm of action figure-ness, like those turtles and the foot soldier. They're like $39 each, if not $29. No, they're like 30 some dollars each, and I think that is insane. I am not the kind of person who's comfortable with paying those kind of prices for an action figure, but those are some pretty high-end, very detailed, amazing-looking figures that, they're all set up nice out there, and I do like being able to see a whole set of them. But Prince Adam and the Sky Sled was like $30, and I'm just like, well, that's kind of insane. I'm definitely going to animate this thing. It's going to be fun for me to have and to do stuff with. And I mean, compared to when I was a kid, stuff like that, seemed to be like it must be $80 to $100 anyway. Like how anybody had vehicles, it was like, oh my god, that's insane. I did also watch a video about the re-release of Castle Grayskull, which seems pretty amazing, but I have absolutely no use for a Castle Grayskull. This guy was a full-blown adult. I think it might have been a Pixel Dan or somebody like that's their thing, is they review all the toys anyway, so half the time he gets sent them by the company before they're even released. But still, just like, oh, you definitely need a whole room specifically for displaying these things. And he's even talking, you can display it like this or display it like that. Like, eventually this is probably going to end up in a bin that I paw through every once in a while to animate with. But I was pretty impressed. Other than the fact, and this is just a dumb thing. Hey Ripley, real quick, can you just blink at the camera for me? Thanks, sweet angel. You're the sweetest angel. I'm just gonna grab it And hopefully I don't mess up here. Go. Some kind of He-Man knocking at my door. He's got a sled. It's not a battle ram no more. Meow, 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 meow. Yes, I'm ready. Okay, so just the size of it as well. Look at this thing, huh? Woo! And the gun turret rotates. And this head comes off, and you can replace it with 2 different versions of the head, which, who cares? And also, these little dragon details come off. And I put the red ones on because they match with his little outfit. Because, you know, I'm that kind of a weirdo. But if that'll focus. Focusing on me. Focus. 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 Can't get it to focus on anything except me. Or perhaps I turned off the autofocus. Anyway, his outfit, his little vest in this version is not a little not a little piece of fabric like it was before with a little belt that held it on. It's actually like a rubberized thing, which still goes over the exact same mold as the other He-Man figure. And then he comes with his little pink sword that I jammed into the back of his thing there. And then it also has a little pew pew. I might be able to actually reach. There we go. Pew 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 for when he's shooting. Maybe I can get it to focus on this camera actually, although it will be black and white. Get out of the way. There we go. Pew pew pew. But he's got some great articulation. The hands just barely hold the sword. Okay. But it's so awesome to have this thing that, you know, when I was a kid, the arms just rotated up and down. The legs were on that weird little rubber version of a ball joint. And everything was all like basically painted the same color. But yeah, I think for the animations that I was thinking of doing, it was like, I think it would be more fun if he could, you know, adjust his little vest. But it's just molded on there, and it's not coming off unless you want to cut it off. Which technically, I guess I could probably cut and then put like a piece of Velcro in there. Kind of overthinking things. But I got them on the shelf where I keep all the different video game controllers that control all my different video games, and he fits in real good over there, and looks like that's where he should be. So in lieu of a Zodak, I grabbed that, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure if there was 1 Zodak or 2 Zodaks left. I had to think real good and hard about, am I gonna pick up a He-Man on a Sky Sled and a Zodak? I really shouldn't. Really shouldn't. I've been locked away, haven't really spent much money on many things, but you know what I'm probably gonna do? I'm gonna go to the internet, and I'm just gonna say, F it. F it all the way. I'm gonna order an Orko. It's gonna be too expensive, but there seems to be some websites that are selling them at normal price. So I went through all those websites. And they either weren't delivering them anywhere except for outside of the states, or / you have to physically go to Target, and or they were just sold out. They were just sold out everywhere. So I'm like, oh, come on. So I resorted to an eBay, and I paid way too much money for that Orko. and it'll be here. It's already March. I guess it'll be here soon. It'll be here like later this week, I guess. Whole time I'm thinking like, oh, it'll be here in a month. Ugh, hopefully I still care to want to animate or just play with or have an Orco a month from now. But yeah, it's actually coming very soon. Because February February is complete bullshit. Okay, I think now I have to turn the space heater off. Um, I'm on fire. Ripley? It is pointing directly at me and drying my face out completely. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah, cut to me this time. Thanks, Ripley. I would also like to say some things. All right, that's enough, Ted. But yeah, here are my problems with February. To complain about things. February is not a pop culture. It's not a movie. Oh my god, you're so terrible at this. Doesn't matter. The internet's for complaining about things. Why I hate February. Reason number one. Um, it's it's the future. It's 2021. We're surviving through pandemics as best we can. A guy from TV was running a country and still seemingly running parts of it somehow. Lots of things have changed. Lots of things have changed. I think I wholeheartedly, with all of my heart, fully, full heartedly, and TLCedly think one of the waterfalls that we should be chasing is let's let's take some of the days from some of the other months that are 31 and put them into February. Why? Why in what world does it make sense? Like leap year or not? Like yeah, you can add one or take one away, but why aren't all of the months 30? If I'm say trying to work on a project and I'm doing some math and I'm like, yep, 30 days here, 30 days there, and then realize, I just lost 3 days. No, no deal, unacceptable. Milo, unacceptable bugs are available at the Mr. Cartoons. You can get this mug as well at the old store, which is same address, except no such thing as grown-ups. It still exists, but new unacceptable bugs with a different graphic of me are available because things are unacceptable. That's true. That's true. So many unacceptable things. Um, but February should be 30 days by now, and other months should also be 30 days. The fact that they go up and down, and some people are like, oh, it's easy to remember. 30 days has September, October, November, and December. 31 is just for fun. That's in December, but not July. Like, I don't know what it is, and I will never know that rhyme. Because it's one of those things that is just like, oh, here's how you remember this thing that should not need to be remembered. I disagree. I disagree. And that was the other thing, and Pat, the Knuckles thing that I see people doing. I'm like, but if I don't know where to start, I don't know which is the thing and which is not the thing. So also never gonna remember that. Be just easier. There are some parts of the country, some parts of the world that are like daylight. You guys are still doing daylight savings time. Why? Why? It's a waste of our time. I concur. I concur. In some ways, it feels like it's better. In other ways, I'm just like, ugh. I just lost a whole half a day once again by not knowing where I should be and what time it is, and hate it. The future now. There's emoticons. Everybody's a live stream. Millennials. And the other problem, of course, with February is obvious. I think it's obvious, right? You must be talking about Valentine's Day. No, that's fine. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Everybody, if you're going to Valentine's Day, do some Valentine's Day. There's nothing wrong with Valentine's Day. All holidays are meaningless and meaningful depending on who you are and what they mean to you or don't. Doesn't matter. The internet has made 1,000 holidays. Every day is a different holiday, mostly for food. Hey, it's cake day. Now it's donut day. It's t-shirt day. It's I don't know, water park day. But that R, the R in February doesn't need to be there. Nobody says it. Nobody says it. I say it all the time just because I know that it's there. And if I don't say it, it'll make me crazy because I'm like, well, why isn't it there? Same as sometimes I kind of try to say knife, but in a way where it's like nobody really notices, but I know that I put the K in there, but it doesn't need to be there because an N makes an N sound and a K makes a K sound, and a KN, if the K is silent, then why? Then why? That's like, hey, I did a project, and now I was going to drift over to Wednesday. I have a hard time not saying the nis in Wednesday when it's just Wednesday. WEDNSDAY. The Wednesday. Even just WENSDAY is probably fine. I'm tempted to start putting some apostrophes in there. But February, I really do mostly say February unless I'm in a position where I know that no one's going to jump down my throat for saying it weird. Because February is used by nobody. By nobody. Nobody says the R in February, but it's still there, even though it's so contrary. It doesn't have enough months, but it's got too many syllables, it's got too many letters, and that is just unacceptable. That doesn't, I don't know. The Wednesdays in February don't come quite enough, 'cause there's not enough days, unless it's a leap year and some stuff. Hey, is it a leap year? Who the F even knows? You've got to go to the internet and say, hey, how many days are there this month? This year. Nonsense. Nonsense. Oh, but you see, it's based on the rotation of the Earth? So the Earth rotate. Is it? Is it though? Is it? Because it's not. Because who cares? Right? Oh, well, then the solstice is going to be at a different time. And all the things are always at a different time. Nothing happens. Easter's shifting around all over the place. That should be illegal. And as far as wintertime, it's March now, and we're just getting into the middle of my February weather right now. So that's all a lie. So it's no longer for the farmers because, climate keeps changing, whether that's real or not. But everything's off by a month or four. When I first moved to where Space Goonie and Pat Prue lives, it was like, hey, there's barely any snow. This place is great. It used to have lots of snow. Well, now it's like pretty nice and easy going for the winter. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's enough of that. Now you're getting 30 feet of snow. So earlier today, Mel of Karate Lessons sent me a message saying, hey, did you get buried in a pile of snow? And I said, no. there was a few flurries, but it mostly just blew away all of the snow. It is like just too crazy cold out for any snow to happen, I think, now. And she sent me a picture where the snow was like up to her waist. So I sent a picture out my window where I'm just like, I can see the grass. I can see some of my lawn. So there's that. But the magical insulation that snow can provide also wasn't happening. So yeah, like seems like Pat and Space Goonie have already had some horrific snow shoveling adventures and pains. And still super glad I don't live there anymore. But for the most part here, even the um, worst day weather-wise still usually isn't that bad. No, let's. What was my point? Oh yeah. So the calendar doesn't matter because that's all about plant cropping, plant cropping, crop planting, and getting things harvested and in and out. So you got to feel that out and just check the actual weather. You can't go by the days of the month anymore. All right, I gave one hand square fingers and one hand round. Be responsible here. I can hear the wind trying to get in. I think if Joe Biden was as responsible as he acted like he was going to be instead of still going into wars and whatnot, and if Justin Trudeau wasn't a crazy business person like he clearly is, that's the thing these people will be taken care of. I mean, of course, racism first, stop with the racism, and also healthcare and dental plans and whatnot for everyone is top of the list. Next thing on the list, get rid of that R in February and renumber the months to all have an equal amount of days. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, we have the metric system here, a system based on tens. So let's let's round things off, not just willy nilly. All right, that's enough. Old man on his front porch yelling at the kids about the how things used to be different in your day. Why don't you just drift into your notes there and see if there's anything that's not stupid? Good idea. Um, notes. Adventures with Mike in Texas. All right, talked about most of these. Yeah, pretty much all of these. Um, this is back to the things in the real world. What I was going for one of my morning ish, maybe it was a mid afternoon walk one day. Wasn't really in the mood to have my weird conversations with strangers, so I was doing my best to sidestep and not walk into the path of anybody who was going to probably say things that I'd have to write down. And just I don't know. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to be a good person and help people. The only way to do that is to avoid all the people in your neighborhood, in your neighborhood. But there's people that you meet when you're walking down the street in your neighborhood. Come on. So I'd already walked all around town, and I was on my way back towards the apartment here. And as I was getting to a street to cross over this intersection to get onto the next block and just keep walking just straight all the way here, I could see that some people had kind of camped out. Oh, why won't you bend the way I want you to? Um, Camped out in a little in like a stairway, an entryway to like an old store or the old phone company building or whatever it was. So it was like a little area where somebody could sit and beg for money with a little sign, and odds are no one's going to bother them or tell them to be on their way or anything, which is great. That's fine. Uh, that's all you can do to survive is hope people will be generous enough. Then all the power to you. It's a scary thing to do, I'm sure, and it's a terrible situation to be in. But I wasn't in the mood to be a good person. So before I cross the street, I'm just like, no, not today. And I couldn't tell what it was. If it was like, just some like young kids that are just like, I just made a sign because I don't want to ask my mom for any money, but I want some money. So I'm just gonna make a little sign that says, "Hey, give me some booze money" or whatever. And I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to not give them money. I don't want to give them money, and I don't usually carry money. So I'm just going to avoid. I'm just going to avoid them. And I have been walking for a bit. I do kind of want to just go home, but I'm just going to veer left instead. I'm going to go back up to the street that I came around on, and I'm going to semi take a longer way home just to avoid these people. Um, I made it about 10, 15 feet up that left turn, and I had to stop. I'm just like, I think I do have some money on me actually. I looked in my wallet and I had a $5 bill. I'm just like, I've got a $5 bill. I've never given a homeless person $5. That's kind of crazy. But as I made that turn, I had the feeling, I think, that it wasn't some just young, dirty teens. I think it was some older people who probably were having, some real hard times. And I'm just like, this is before I bought a He-Man figure, so I'm just like, I haven't bought anything weird this week. I could totally, you know, I could give this $5 away. And again, it's not even my fault. It's not even my fault. It's not Milo, but there's always when I'm out in the world, all of the time. I keep Milo here to argue with and the other characters and whatnot. But during the rest of the week, the imaginary character that I carry around with me is my dad all the time. Just like Obi-Wan, if you strike me down now, I should become more powerful than you could ever imagine. And and it's true. And it's true. He's just force ghosting all the time. And it's just like, oh my God, leave me alone sometimes. And literally, it's just like, come on, buddy. Come on. Like, you're not only you're not gonna give them some help, you're gonna veer off in a completely. You're gonna do like, I mean, come on, it's just like, Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan. Fine. So I turn back around, I take the 5 out of my wallet, I put it in my pocket separate from my wallet, and I go back up that street to cross the path. And I'm still gonna judge them. I'm still going to judge them. Oh yeah, you gotta make sure that people with nothing are worthy of your $5 bill. Because God forbid you give it to somebody who doesn't deserve it, because nobody deserved the $5 bill, even though everybody basically deserved the $5 bill. This just it. I was just out here at the dance club once again, and I've just discovered that everybody deserves some money and a way to get through the day, even if it's just for a coffee, even if they're going to spend it on booze. It's not up to you. Everyone deserves a little bit of happiness. All right, guys, let me finish. So I do go back the other way. Still, also, I don't want to come in contact with people. All right, homeless or otherwise. It's still COVID times, and I don't want to hand things off close contact, especially strangers in the street. Um. So I do get to them, and it's two people, two seemingly very old people. If they're not very old, they are having very hard lives, so they do look very old, haggard. I think would be not too offensive of a word to use to describe them. Definitely an offensive word to describe them. But they also had a sign, a piece of cardboard with something written on it. The writing was pretty nice, which I'm just like, penmanship alone. I got to appreciate a good sign. And the dude was just kind of sitting there, and the lady was holding the sign, and the sign said, like, please help. Basically, I'm going through like stage 2 cancer or something like that, and something, something, something. I'm just like, oh my god, like my heart is completely broken right now. I am glad that I decided to, or that I A, had a $5 bill, B, that I decided I'm going to give this $5 bill to these people. And I did. And then as I walked away, I'm just like, that is so not enough. That is so not enough. Like, how could I do some more? Needs to be done. But I've got to go home and start and get to work. And I'm already afraid of 19 things. Today alone within the last hour, and I'll come up with 19 more things to be afraid of and to worry about. But wow. Um, Oh, 450. How is it going? I am from Brazil, and I am using the translator. Please note that you are doing a computer gamer draw. How can I participate? Please, reflected for me to translate. Um, I'm not sure how you can translate what I'm doing, but I allow for 450. I'm just drawing stuff and telling stories. Sorry, I use a lot of words, and they're all gonna be in English. I don't Spanish. Is that what you speak in Brazil? I don't. Hola. That's all I got. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish I could say more. Um. But feel free to draw whatever you want. I'm just drawing people. Just some stick many people. But yeah, I don't know. I walk away from those situations all the time thinking like, oh, I would love to, but I also will be terrified to, and you can't. But I'm just like, wouldn't it be amazing to be like, hey, come on, like I'm giving you guys a night at the hotel or something. Then of course, like, would they ever leave? I don't know. You can't just go putting your credit card information at a hotel for strangers. Then who knows what would happen. Also, I can't afford to do that. That's crazy. But um, my next thought was, oh, I was like, you know what I need? I need, like, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers slash subscribers, so that instead of just being like, hey, donate some money to me slash throw some cheer bits at me, because yeah, I would love to, never have to go to work again and just do like stuff like this every day or every few days, and just be an internet hero that can afford to, you know, pay for my life with digital accolades from people. But I would also love to be like, that guy that accosted me and told me his problems, um, with the homeless shelter, and how that shelter it just lets people stay there for the night, and then they gotta leave in the morning. It doesn't really offer them any counseling or help. They should just leave town. I'm like, what would be great is if I had enough clout in the internet to be like, all right, it's like, I'm just gonna, if we can raise like hundreds of thousands of dollars just by being on the internet. Like I've seen like the work, I do work for people that raise money for charities all the time. It's like, this is incredible. This is amazing. I would love to just be like, hey, here's a pile of money, shelter. Um, Hire somebody to you know also counsel these people so they can learn how to get a job, so they can overcome addictions, so they can maintain a job, and get a place to live without getting kicked out and this and that. Like, there was fully a lady who drove me insane. She would, would scream crazy things at me, at other random people. She was feeling up a girl who lived here one day, and I was just like, "Hey, you can't touch a stranger like that." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean anything, whatever." I was like, "That's fine." It was like, but she doesn't seem comfortable, and you just can't go touching people. That lady got kicked out, and as far as I know, the next place she went was to the shelter, uh, and who knows after that. But I know for a fact. Oh, I'm in Canada as well. Um, Lao 450, the real place of dreams. Oh, Canada, my Canada, our country 'tis of thee. But yeah, like that lady, I know that she really need help, and hopefully she got some help rather than just a cot to sleep on for the night and some crackers, and then to just go wandering through the streets during the day, um, in survival mode. But what I also like about living here in Truro is it does have some magical things. One of which is, through the farmers market and some other businesses, there are these tokens that they give out to people in need that are worth like $5, I think, that can be spent at the farmers market on local businesses. But it is mostly on things that are food related, and what have you, to help people survive, who can't afford things. Um, I forget how they're given out, but there's families in need, and just people in need. It's like, that's such a great thing. That's such a great thing to do, and I absolutely need to blow my nose. My sinuses have kind of cleared up, but I'm at that point where it's kind of like you can have one nostril at a time, but it's very rare you're going to get two. And today I was like two nostril breathing like all day without any stands, without anything else. Um, and yeah, no more ginger. So I haven't been like itchy and sneezy, but still talking through my mouth for an hour straight does create some pressure. So I do have to blow my nose. I believe there is a BRB. Where's one with some noise so that I can blow my nose without it sounding? Um, They don't have that screen anymore. Bumper screen. I was just say, I was like, Ginger, oh no, or Ginger now. Like, that sounds familiar. Hmm. Very basic, but that's what I need. Okay. Yeah. Going to move this mouth so it's not right against the bottom of his face. Or that a funnier mouth. I do recall. Can't quite remember who the main villain was anymore. Picturing Mojo Jojo. I just know that every time Terracotta Warriors or the Juncture show up in video games or cartoons when I'm watching Let's Plays and whatnot, and they're just like, what's up with these weird zombies? Like, are they zombies? But they're like hopping all weird, and it's just like, that's the Juncture. They were zombies that, Kong Lee. I remember. But I mostly just remember the monsters and that day that the episode where the bad guy he either had flying monkeys or he was a flying monkey, and he turned the kid with the blue jacket into a winged monkey, and I got to animate him, and I think I got to animate some of the actual flying monkeys, like landing and stuff, and I was very proud of my landing animation. Uh, I believe there's a big millipede monster of some kind of big slug monster. That I was like, ooh, I'm afraid of this, but in the end, I'm like, I'm kind of happy with this animation as well. Overall, with the exception of that last scene that drove me to go, I quit forever before I hit somebody with a keyboard, because I've shown it to all of my animation friends, and they can't tell me what's wrong with it. I've showed it to Pat, and he can't tell me what's wrong with it, but I keep getting told, do it better, do it different. I'm just like, you're not paying me enough. I'm only making $30 this week, so I have to quit now so that I can, do anything else so I can afford to pay my bills, because this is insane. This is insane. And it was, and I did. And life was better after that. But before that point, when it was just all about animating and getting paid enough to animate, and when it was like, hey, I finished my work early, I can help somebody else to finish their work. That was great. Then it was no one's ever done. Everyone's always wrong. Oh, great. Awesome. Cool. Guess I hate it here now. That was one of the first times I started going to therapy. True story. True story. Hey, what's going on? This place doesn't make any sense, and I have a feeling that more people from where I work are going to show up to see you about therapy, because they're running a bad system right now, and people can't afford to eat. That's not cool. But that show itself, I have to say, was pretty fun. Like, I got to animate a lot of things that I never thought I would ever animate in my whole life. Lots of like martial artsy things, and I don't know. It definitely made me a better animator, I think. But there were some walls I just could not climb. Oh, this is a fun story. We haven't talked about the madness that is people yelling things in my building in a while. Because people haven't been yelling things in my building too badly in a while. The people directly upstairs, they seem to like to scream at each other first thing in the morning. I think they've been kicked out. Somebody was kicked out, but I think they're still there. I don't know. The lady across the hall asked me if I can hear the people upstairs cranking their music late at night, and I'm just like, nope. They seem must be solely over your apartment, and I don't hear a thing from them. So sorry, I was like, I don't know. It's just the curse of the third floor. Every time some seemingly nice, new, quiet people move in, they become loud, crazy people. It's just the curse of the third floor. So that sucks. Hopefully that gets better for you. But the other night, um, just sitting here trying to draw stuff, or it was when I had a cold, so I was just sitting here trying to breathe. And I don't know why there weren't sirens, there weren't lights, but for something made me think I gotta look outside, and I looked at the window right over here, and just like, yep, my police sense was going off, which is something I guess I have. There was a police car parked right outside below the window here. Like, And then over on the street, another police car was parked over there. But I couldn't see what was going on, so I'm just like, I didn't hear a ruckus. I didn't notice anything. Why they would be called, but usually I hear the thing before the cops show up, or I'm the one who calls the cops. Um, but yeah, all I could see from my vantage point was it looked like one police officer lady was talking to possibly another police officer. I couldn't quite see that person, but I think I was seeing the corner of a uniform, but it could have just been a winter jacket. So after a while of going from window to window, trying to see better, um, opening windows to try and hear better, couldn't hear anything, couldn't figure out what was going on. Uh, but mostly, uh, the fear, the concern for me is, are they going to come to my door and ask me, hey, did you hear what was going on? Can you tell me any of the things? It's just like, but I don't know this time. So it's just like, is there something that I should be aware of? Are they looking for a bomb? I don't know. So eventually I hear a lady scream, um, I I wasn't lying, or I'm not a liar. I told you I'm not a liar. And then the police were gone. So I don't know if that was to the police. I kind of thought like, oh well, somebody was fighting with somebody, I guess, and maybe the police came and escorted that person out. But I didn't know. About 5 seconds after the police left, I realized, oh, there was like two SUVs parked on the other side of the building. They pulled around. One pulled up to the door, and the other like just backed or pulled into a parking space. About 4 or 5 dudes got out of a combination of the two, I guess. Pretty big, kind of scary looking dudes, and they all just kind of like leaned against the back of this SUV, like, this looks like there's going to be a fight, or they're going to storm the building in some way. I don't like the looks of this. Why are the police gone now? Um, then I could hear, I didn't write any of this down. Then I could hear the, I think the lady yell something else. Um, and some guy basically yelled back like, "Argh! It's been like, I've done this so much. I've done so much. Like, how you can't just leave or whatever." It's like, no, I'm done. I'm leaving. It's like, cause so at this point, it's like it's in the hallway, so I can hear it. They might as well be yelling it at my door. Don't you select the color? Go. Um. So what I eventually realized was, oh, all these dudes outside, they're the good guys. Oh, before that, just before that, some other lady was walking around outside who I think was unconnected to the situation, but I heard her yell from outside through the building at the random people in an SUV, I think. Something like, um, I don't know, like, what? Why don't you go F yourselves, or why don't you guys F off, or something like that? And, and then I saw her like pace back and forth a few times. So I'm like, I don't know. She's just one of those people that's like, hey, something's going on. I'm not only going to watch, like I'm doing, but I'm going to scream at it as well. So no idea if that was related or not. I hear the guy upstairs yelling something, whatever, just something mean towards this lady. And then yell-splaining at her, like, I carried all of that up here. I carried that up by myself. But you need these 2 or 3 guys to carry this stuff for you? I could hear her, like, not too far from my apartment, just calmly-ish saying, what? Why? Are you going to help me move it out then? Are you going to help me move out of here? Is that because was I supposed to ask you? You're so good at carrying this stuff. Like, what? So as she's moving her stuff out and seemingly explaining, I'm out of here, you're garbage, and I'm sick of this. He says, or he asks, like, are you coming back? What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? If someone is just literally, I've got an army full of dudes to help me get out of here just in case you go crazy. I clearly have called the police first, or they have come here because, you're not going to let me go, and you're still going to throw in, like, but you're coming back though, right? Like, people need desperately. I need people too. A lot of people need people too. I believe CTK put it, get in their lane or stay in their own lane or get out of your lane and stop trying to convince you of things. Because it's just what's going on here? I do. Oh, I colored the wrong. There we go. But yeah, there's so many of those situations where it is just like, yeah, no, I did it again. Like, no thanks, guy. No thanks. I'm gonna be over here. You live your life over here. You continue doing whatever you're doing. Clearly, you don't have anything to offer me anymore. We're done. And and then yeah, I think she left. They helped pack her up some stuff for her, and then he just cranked up some music, and I assume probably cried for the rest of the night, or got drunk, or whatever. Whatever reason she's leaving, I assume he did that thing. Which is, I think, what today's little shirt design is all about. Hey, I'm going to go chase some of these waterfalls while somebody else yells, don't, but don't! But don't! But what if you don't instead? Because some people do want to stick to the lakes and the rivers that they're used to, and other people want to chase those waterfalls, and both are correct. It's just not correct to force somebody to stay at the lake and the river, and it's not correct to drag somebody up a waterfall. You gotta give people their own space. Izun 2, how do you do? Hanging out on the live stream for you. Where was a note? Am I forgetting? Oh yes. You know what's not fun? People who talk about their dreams. It's just not right. People telling you about their dreams is stupid. You shouldn't do it. The stories never go anywhere, and they're just not. They're just not. Nobody cares. But that's your segue into talking about the dreams. Is that what this is? You should do this, but unless you're me, I get to say February, but I want to change to February and don't talk about your dreams. But anyway, here's my dream. Basically, basically, I have these. It's not even that they're scary half the time, or they're even that weird. They're usually just so real that I wake up in the middle of the night like not wanting to go back to sleep. And like I don't know, one half the time it is just the weird fear that I get of, oh, I'm going to be working on something and I'm not going to know how to do it, and it follows me to sleep all the time. Um, and oh, sorry, Pat. I didn't realize what that meant. I thought you were like, no, like your goals equal your dreams. So whatever you're dreaming about is actually your goals. So follow those dreams. But you were actually trying to delineate. Um, but this one night, it just went on forever. Where I was like sitting at this long table, like this that went around in like a U shape or at least an L shape, and I was almost on the corner amongst a bunch of people, and I don't know what we're doing, but speaking of the police, I believe I had a job working at some sort of police type law enforcement situation. I'm just like, I don't know why I'm here or what credentials I have to make this valid, but I don't think that I do, and I don't remember how I got this job, but I guess I haven't, so I guess I have to do it, or I'll wait till they stop talking and then I'll pull somebody aside and go, a terrible mistake was made, and I'm pretty sure I shouldn't have this job. I don't know what's going on, but in some way, it was going to be part of my job to help solve some kind of mystery or crime. So they're going over some sort of details, and I'm looking at the people around me like, what is even happening right now? What did, did I sign up for this? Like, I genuinely don't remember how this happened. And I guess it was going to be my job to set up a website, and the guy next to me was a programmer, and he was talking about like, oh, you know what I'd love to do is like make games and do this. Is like, are you a programmer? Like, yeah, that's my thing. I was like, well, then you can do anything if you can program. Programming is like that's the skill that leads to all the things. Like whatever you want to do, you can program it. Like especially if you know some people to make the other parts or what have you. Like that's great. And and then also telling me like, oh, well, you're gonna have to find a programmer. Like, aren't you the programmer? Like, well, not for this thing. Like, you're gonna have to basically put together a team. Like, that's not my thing. I don't put together teams. I can draw pictures. And if I'm not here to draw pictures and make cartoons, I don't know why. How did this happen? And again, I just sat at this desk forever, like just losing my mind. Just like, why, how? What am I doing? What am I doing? Why? And I'm just like, I shouldn't be here. And it's just like, no, you're fine. Like, we know what we're doing. Like, yeah, but I don't. Like, yeah, but we know what you're doing. Like, I don't like the sounds of that. That's very confusing. So that was one where again, like, it's not scary. It's just waking up to just being like, ugh, the same feeling is like, I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to go back to this imaginary job that I don't have, and I don't know how to explain it when I'm in a dream. But a lot of times I'll have dreams where people are trying to just get in to my apartment, into my home. I'll dream of every home I've ever lived in, and somebody will be trying to climb in through the windows, through the ceiling, through whatever. Sometimes they're zombies, sometimes they're just regular people, sometimes they're people that are just like, oh, society's been infused with rage now, and they're just raging out. Um, One night, I dreamt that I looked outside. And it's like my car is gone. My car is gone. Trying to figure out like there must be a reason why my car is gone because it can't just be that it was stolen. But it's like nobody has the keys. Maybe somebody like pushed it off to the side as like a prank. No, that can't be right. And then some people pulled up onto the front lawn and they were gonna try and like come into the house. And it's just like, not only did you steal my car, you're coming now back to rob me with my own car. And I'm saying this to your face because you're still on the front step. And I'm just like, can you stop stealing my car right now? And they're like, ha ha ha, no, you crazy? Like, that's what we're doing. No, no deal? I disagree? How do I make this stop happening? But the weirdest dream that I've ever had in my whole entire life. That's just a little backstory on how I react to my weird dreams. There's sometimes there's one with dinosaurs, sometimes there's zombies, sometimes I can fly. Those are normal as far as I'm concerned. But this one was so just like definitely because I'm about to start therapy, or it was like the night I talked to the therapy lady. But full blown like Dagobah tree, I was in bed. And when I wake up in my dreams in bed, those are the worst because it feels like I'm just waking up and I don't know that I'm not in my own bed. Even though this in no way resembles the place that I live right now, I don't know that yet. I'm still half asleep and it's kind of dark. Excuse me. Been needing to burp for probably a long time now. Um, but I wake up and there's clearly, definitely somebody in my bed next to me. Now, once I wake up, I realize the pillows have been moved around, so it's like, oh, that's why. The same time, I'll have dreams where I'm just like, oh, there's a dog in the bed, and I'll wake up like, oh, the pillow's moved, and it's kind of where a dog should be. But I don't want to look because I'm trying to figure it out in the half asleepedness of is this like I don't know who this could be. There's definitely a person there. I can like feel them breathing and being alive. But for the life of me, I can't think of how this could have happened. Like, it was just like, did I get drunk last night? And just like, that's not a thing that I do. I don't bring strangers home. I don't know anybody that would be sharing my bed for whatever reason. And also, pretty sure I'm still mentally aware that it's COVID time. So it's just like, I'm still not even just interacting with people regardless. But there is somebody there. So I'm just trying to figure like who could this possibly be before I, terrifyingly look over and be like, ah, it's not a monster. It can't be a monster. It's not a monster. It's definitely a person. It's definitely a person. Would it be? Would I sleep in the bed? Would it be? Would I breathe like a human? Would it be? No, it wasn't you. So I try to I finally work myself up to just being like, I guess I just have to look. And hopefully they're not just staring at me, waiting for me to look, and or it's a murderer and I have to immediately start fighting for my life because I hate those. Or should I just stay here and if I'm gonna get murdered, it's probably easier to just go back to sleep and get murdered in my sleep. So I go to turn over, and it was me. I was there, right? The Batman protecting you while you sleep. I am the Dark Knight, and I am in the night. No, Batman. Shh. You're never a good help. So I slowly roll over, and it's spoiler alert. I did say Dagobah Tree of a Dream. It was me. I've never seen me in a dream, especially when I'm still me. And I just slowly look, and I look back at myself, and my I open he opens his eyes, or his eyes are already open and he's already looking at me, and I'm just like, oh, what? And he didn't act like me. Instead, he did like a Loki type smile, like I'm definitely some sort of magical imp who can take on the forms of others, because I'm not you and I'm not. But he didn't say any words. He said it all with a creepy smile and weird crazy eyes. I'm just like, oh, oh God, like dude, I gotta fight myself now. I gotta fight myself, and I'm like, whoa, like what do you do? Like what is this? Like what are you doing? And the other me jumped up like out of the bed and like scampered across the room. And in this particular bedroom was also the kitchen. I guess the whole apartment was just one big open room, and the bed was in the middle. and he went over to the counter and like scampered up onto the counter. Again, like some sort of weird imp that could take on other people's faces, and just like, oh my god. Um, and in real life, I'm sure I would probably run and never attack somebody, but just the fact that just like no deal, you don't get to be me. You don't get to be me. So I don't know. I'm sure this is a thing that it is just like, hey, you're gonna go to therapy now, and you're gonna have to deal with yourself, and that's probably all this means. But either way, this isn't me, so I'm gonna rush me, and it's just like I'm rushing at myself, and I was like, I guess I'm gonna grab me, or am I gonna punch? I don't know how to punch anybody, so it was fully just like I'll just hold him onto the counter until authorities arrive. Perhaps all of my friends from the precinct where I was just working several nights ago in that dream will show up. Because sometimes characters from other dreams will show up and be like, hey, good thing I had that dream because now you can help me out in this one. But it just became like a tussle of just like, hey, don't you use your hands to grab me. I'll hold your hands back. And it's just like, I'm just smiling because I'm a weird pet cemetery creature and I'm probably going to eat your soul. And then it just became like, I just have to last long enough so that I wake up and I don't die in my dreams because, maybe you die in real life if you die in your dreams. Because so far, as far as I know, yeah, I don't think I've been dead in my dreams. I think I've suffered some sort, like paralyses, or have been like, oh, I can't move, or maybe have been buried alive or trapped under things where I might as well be dead. But I don't think I've ever died in a dream. So it's all about surviving till morning. But yeah, I fully woke up, and that was definitely one of those dreams where it's just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna lay here and look at the ceiling for the rest of the night, cause there's no way I can't face me again, especially if I have to fight me. Move all these pillows out of the way because I don't want to incite any dreams of things touching me, and that's how I end up buried under rubble in my dreams is pillows and cushions and blankets falling up and becoming that rubble and representing themselves in my dreams. But like out of all of the things where genuinely dinosaurs have been on the loose, zombies have been on the loose, people were living in my ceiling in one of the houses I lived in, and it was just like this is beyond real because I actually did believe like there's a very good chance like people could be living in the ceiling of this house because it was a weird, creepy, already haunted house. But anyway, with that information, maybe maybe it's also my clairvoyant powers that I sometimes seem to have that I'll dream of something and then it's just like, oh, now it is a thing. Now I do work for the police. But in this case, um, scrolling through the internet, and I think it was a fresh pitch meeting from Ryan George. I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel now, but he did a pitch meeting for Face Off, which breaks down how the movie Face Off is a crazy idea for anybody to pitch, and how the names are insane. It's a very very hilarious. They're always hilarious, but very recommendable. Little 10 minutes of fun, and at the end, he usually has a thing that's just like, by the way, here's the punchline to this whole thing, and the punchline was that they're making another Face Off movie. And I want to say that I'm like, yeah, of course, make another Face Off movie. That's a great idea. But you just can't. Like, that kind of magic can't. Like, I've watched Face Off 1,000 times. It's an amazing movie. It's the greatest, most insane. Nothing about it makes any sense. All right? From the standpoint of the law, from the standpoint of the bad guys, from the standpoint of everything. Nothing about it actually works. John Travolta and Nicolas Cage have very different bodies, so this is would have to be more of a mind swap because they just swapped places actor wise, so it's just unbelievable. The wife and the daughter are just like, yep, that's definitely our dad. No, it's not. Definitely not. and the fact that, oh, this guy's the most dangerous guy in the world as far as we know. That's why we went to these lengths to take a face off, and we're just gonna leave him there with no supervision, no chains, no nothing, and he'll get up and he'll be able to murder everybody. How he got the information to know who to murder doesn't make any sense. And then, spoiler alert, John Travolta in the end is like, "Hey, I got my face back, and remember how our kid died? I just got this replacement kid because I just murdered his dad, who was the bad guy." The end. Definitely not going to be a sequel ever. Definitely not. Oh, but in production or on the way. Nothing is new. Nothing is new. Sorry, Ted. I forgot what else I saw there. Punky Brewster. I've seen 1,000 commercials for the new Punky Brewster. That one I'm not against. I don't really want to watch it unless somebody can tell me that Glomer's going to show up at some point and start like granting wishes. Because I watched some of the I didn't actually watch very many episodes of the cartoon. But the other thing is, I know that the dad character, whatever his name was, has been dead for years. But without him just being Punky, Punky, let me tell you about the Challenger, Punky. People died, Punky. Very special episode, Punky. That was the charm of Punky Brewster, not Punky Brewster. She was just a weird, troublesome kid. And adult Punky, yes. Who wouldn't be in love with her? She definitely deserves a TV show. And this definitely would be the TV show. But again, just the dynamic of it is just like, this is the same premise of every TV show. Oh, also, she's going to pick up a new little Punky to add to her family. Of course she is. Again, it'll probably do well. I hope it does very well. Soleil Moon Frye is her name, I believe. I wish her all the luck and all of the TV shows that she deserves in the world. But yeah, it's not for me. It's just not for me. But again, in a world where it is just like, wow, is anything new? Is anything new? And no, it really isn't. Like you just came up with this clever orange cat character. No, we're not talking about that. No. This is not that I don't like lasagna. I'm not that lazy. But other than that, Heathcliff. I guess I'm more of a Heathcliff. He's a little more of a Heathcliff. But I don't know. Nothing is new. Nothing is new. I mean, God knows. Like, did I invent a bat type character? No. I'm just always the same Batman. And I have all the money that I could donate to the things you want to. But no, I don't, because I'm Batman. I'm not a rich guy. I'm just a regular superhero. This is the only identity I have. No need to check into my taxes. But anyway, it's after 11 o'clock, 11:01, and it is way too late. And my headphone has just buzzed to let me know that I shouldn't spit onto the camera, and it's about to go dead anyway. So it is fully time to end, and it's also Space Goonies bedtime. Sorry for keeping everybody up so late. As per usual, there's a store where you can buy shirts and books, comics, sexy dinosaurs, and poetry that I've written that is both hilarious and sad and weird, depending on which page you stop on. And of course, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And I'll do my best to make sure that the stream streams to YouTube and Facebook again next week. I assume it shouldn't be too big of an issue. And if it is, I don't know. Don't know. I guess I'll pay money again to a different thing. But we'll see. Either way, thanks everyone for hanging out. Thanks again to the people who watch later on that I didn't take the time to look through the list to see who the new followers were, and to the new people floating around, and people from Brazil. Good to hear from people from all around the world. That makes me feel pretty special and fun. Have a good night. It's time to run. Meow, 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 meow. Yep. Play the outro, Ripley. Play the outro credits. Wait for the beat to drop. Avocado Shake and Mr. Drake, Bill and Ted, Pat Prue and Fred, Face Goo, BTK2. Watch it later on YouTube. What? Follow, share, and subscribe. Gotta blow my nose again. Can't breathe.